What is she going to do? What is she going to do? Right. You put your hopes in a particular politician. You go, you vote, you pull that lever, you press that button, you send that person on in Washington, D.C., and you wait. What is she or he going to do now that they get into the political structure and now they get into Washington, D.C.? Ultimately, you invest your hopes, but you don't know. Because ultimately, you're basing it off of what that person is saying, particularly when there's not necessarily a background that you can kind of investigate and interrogate. What did that person do in the other situation? When that doesn't exist, all that you have is what they're saying. You're looking for any semantic difference in the way that they give their language, the cadence, whether they back away from something, whether they're strong on something else. What do they do? What are they going to do? Ocasio Cortez is such a person where it's hard to know what she's going to do. But one thing that you do know is that her constituency, who voted out Crowley, wanted something fundamentally different than what was currently there. Meaning, she's not taking campaign cash from corporations and everything else. So she is funded by the populace that wanted something different. Most of the media didn't see it coming. There is a righteous anger out there, a righteous indignation within the population itself, and it was expressed in that will and in this glorious show of democracy and dragging Crowley. Fuck out of here. We want her. We're with her. We're with her. I've criticized Ocasio-Cortez in one of her comments because, again, we don't know. And a person is not wrong for criticizing a particular politician, especially when, you look back over previous history with in regards to Democrats and letdowns, failures. And with a history of letdowns and a history of failures, you're not necessarily wrong to be skeptical and questioning. What is she going to do? Ocasio-Cortez did something that I actually liked, which is why I'm highlighting this, because oftentimes it's me taking the piss out of somebody, but in this case, I like her answer. And so I'm going to show a question that she was asked on Democracy Now! And they asked her about who is she going to support for Speaker of the House. Now understand, the people in her constituencies put her there for something fundamentally different in Washington. I mean, God damn it, they put her in as a socialist. We want something different. Go and represent us in a different way than that other swamp creature was representing us. Be something different. Listen to this. Who are you representing? Who are you going to support for Speaker of the House? Listen to what she says. I love this answer.
Leadership with strong commitments to
you coming out of the Bernie Sanders faction of the Democratic Party. You're an organizer for Bernie Sanders. Who do you think needs to lead the House? And would you consider the possibility of being the Speaker of your House yourself?
I mean, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. I just want my seat. But, what I do think is that in terms of her leadership in context, we need to see what our options are. My fear is I just wouldn't want to see candidates running to her right and that being her only option. So I think that no matter who it is, we need to make sure that we are electing party leadership with strong commitments to putting Medicare for all, tuition-free college, and more at the top of the agenda. Things like a living wage. And that's what I'm going to be looking for in terms of where we want to select our next speaker. And I know that I certainly don't want to support anyone who doesn't have those missions in mind.
Sorry, Nancy. Sorry, Nancy. Nancy with the laughing face. Sorry, Nancy. It doesn't sound like you're going to get her support. I mean, because after all, again, I made the point, Nancy Pelosi doesn't check any of those boxes. And by the way, just so we're clear on this, her constituency who put her in wanted her to support those things, and her constituency is not atypical of America. I showed this in the last video. Look at this. Poll. Majority supports increasing the minimum wage. Not Nancy Pelosi. She's out of step with America. 70% of Americans support Medicare for all. Not Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is once again out of step with America. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez is not wrong for saying that if the person is out of step with America itself, why on earth would I support that person to represent the Democratic Party? Why on earth would I put somebody to be the face of the Democratic Party that is out of sync with America itself? That is not why my constituency put me there, nor is it my own value system. Not to mention bad politics. I love that answer. I love that answer. Sorry, Nancy. Sorry, Nancy. Pelosi equals center-right corporate. Yes. $100 million, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi has $100 million in the bank. Bobby Thompson, she's right. It's going to be someone to Pelosi's right 100%. Well, that's your point. I have no need to support somebody who doesn't represent the things that I just itemized, because those things are in sync with America. The majority of Americans want tuition-free college. The majority of Americans want $15 minimum wage or increasing the minimum wage. And the majority of Americans, 70%, tip of the spear, wants Medicare for all. Why would I support somebody that doesn't represent America? Oh, I love that answer. I love that answer. I love that answer. With Pelosi, nipped, tuck, face fracture, and fall off, she's lost Speaker of the House. What a photo op that would be. That's funny. Barbara Lee is my congresswoman. I'm in favor of both. Yes, I am in favor of Barbara Lee myself. Agreed. Agreed. B. Vargas, too easy to blame the problems on Russia boogeyman. Yeah, Trump is blaming immigrants and Democrats are blaming Russians. That's what it boils down to. Thanks for Trump, CNN, MSNBC, and Hillary. Does Pelosi have cerebral palsy? I don't think. God, Jesus Christ. I don't think she has cerebral palsy. She has $100 million in the bank, and in no way does her experience is indicative of the experience of the majority of Americans. The idea that somebody with $100 million in the bank, when 70% of America wants Medicare for all, and she doesn't back it, who is she representing? And she's coming from Florida. I mean, from California. This is insane. It's time for Nancy to be put out to pasture. Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee. She has experience. She was anti-war when everybody else was trying to run off the war. She was absolutely right in regards to that war. Not to mention, she checks all of these boxes that is indicative of America itself. It's time for Nancy Pelosi to take the long walk off of a very, very short pier. Enter Barbara Lee. Enter Barbara Lee. Alright. I'm going to end this here. I'm not going to keep this one long. She has $signs for eyes, so she can't see those medical and minimum wage polls. It's a legit medical condition, I swear. Trina be fine. She's representing the people who gave her them $100 million. Yes, I guess that's probably more true than not, Trina. These corporate Democrats are never going to willingly give up their power. True. What are you guys having for breakfast? I'm having liberal tears. That's funny and gross. That's funny and gross. Ocasio-Cortez doesn't accept the highest bidders for Democrat-B, so no one's listening to her. They better listen to her. She may not necessarily have influence starting off, but there are a group of them. It may be small, but there are a group of them. And I suspect they're going to be feisty. She has a constituency that is paying hyper attention to the things that she does in that office. Supporting Nancy Pelosi is likely not necessarily going to be something that her constituency is going to like, which is probably the reason why she comes out here and gives this particular conversation. Balthazar, Nancy Pelosi has $3 million apartment in D.C. She could possibly understand Ocasio's. She can't possibly understand Ocasio's predicament. Think about that. A $3 million apartment in D.C. Ocasio Cortez talking about she couldn't afford to get an apartment until she got her first paycheck. Think about that. One person is indicative of America. The other person, not. Who do you want leading your party? Somebody who's representative of America itself? Somebody who is on board with the things that America is on board with, who checks those boxes off? Or somebody with $100 million in the bank that can't possibly understand your experience? Barbara Lee. I want Barbara Lee. All right. Ocasio-Cortez knows she'll catch hell if she supports Nancy Pelosi. She's walking a fine line. Yes, she is. Yes, Rob, agreed. Agreed. Absolutely agree. Trudy, I hate to do it, but my report that Bernie is waffling on universal Medicare. No way, Trudy. No way. You need to show me the link. Show me the link, Trudy. I hate to do it, but my report, I must report that Bernie Sanders is waffling on universal Medicare. Show me the link. Give me the link. Give me the link. I need to see the link. I need to see the link. I don't believe that. There's probably more details into that that needs to be looked into. But this will be a good video, so I want to see it. I heard it myself. I'll find it. Yes, I want to see it. I want to see it. Show me the link. Show me the link. Andrew Yang 2020. I think I know who Andrew Yang is, but I'm not certain. To be fair, Bernie has already caved on the garbage Russia narrative. Yeah, but that's a little bit different than him caving on Medicare for All. Bernie Sanders has been for Medicare for All for fucking 40 years. That would be amazing if he did. Oh, I see. That's coming up for that. Oh, interesting. All right. Okay, Trudy. When you fail, I'll put Jamarl down. That's funny. Well, universal health care is very expensive, but it should be a thing. Yeah, it should be a thing. Well, it's cheaper for us. I mean, we pay twice as much as everybody else around the globe. It would be a cheaper alternative to the system that we currently have. So, yes. Why fawn over Ocasio-Cortez when 5 states lost Green Party ballot access? What do you mean, why fawn over? I don't understand that question. It's actually cheaper than private one in the U.S. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, I'm going to end this here because I don't want this video to go too long. Why isn't anyone pushing the Green Party anymore? I'm not against the Green Party. I've had Green Party candidates on for interviews. The issue with the Green Party is the Green Party. I mean, the name Green makes it feels like... Look, let's be fair. I would agree with you that the Green Party goes beyond just environmental stuff. First point. Just because I know they go beyond environmental stuff, when people hear the Green Party, they associate green with environment, and so they believe that the party is essentially focused predominantly on environmental concerns. Now, this isn't necessarily horrible, but the problem is that if, I don't have health care, or if my mom doesn't have health care, and she's sick, fuck the environment. Now, the Green Party's platform goes beyond that, but from the standpoint of what a person thinks of when they think of it, that's where it goes. Or if somebody is making $10 an hour, or let's say $9 an hour, or even, God forbid, a minimum wage, and they're scrambling to make ends meet, it's not going to come up. Like you're not thinking about the environment when your basic needs are at stake. At least not everybody does. Now, once you get a little bit more space, you know, values are emergent in this situation. Then you start thinking about these other parties. Now, that said, the Democratic Socialists of America, if you notice, they don't have that problem. Now, some of them run as Democrats, some of them run as independents, but they've been able to capture, you know, the consciousness of the nation. Now, some of this is just because you have Bernie Sanders, considered a socialist, and so he immediately had a lightning rod that people can associate with the Democratic Socialists of America. Oh, they're like Bernie Sanders. But the Green Party has a unique problem with that association between environment. It looks like everything is environment, and that's so not true. That's demonstratively not true. So I don't think that. I'm just giving this thing that when people think of the Greens, if there are other economic concerns, the environment concern is going to matter less. Not saying it's right. Just saying it is. I could be wrong. That's my own perspective. So take it with a grain of salt. Jamal, I agree they should change their name, the name of the Green Party, to Workers' Party. Yes, or People's Party. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Bernie Sanders opens up about new Democrats in Congress taking on Trumpism on Rolling Stone. Okay, I'll check that out, Trudy. I'll check it out. Green Tea Party should be black. I love that. Green Tea Party should be black. But I gotta have my avocados. Okay. All right. I'm gonna end this here. How can I not like Bernie when he has koala level huggability? Oh God. Did you see Nick Brana on Jimmy Dore? You mean recently? No, I haven't. Uh-oh. I know Nick. I know if I saw Nick on Twitter talking about the ballot thing in Florida, using this as a pivot point to essentially hit both parties, saying both parties are corrupt. That is true. And he's also, I think he needs to tread a little bit lighter though on the Brenda Snipes stuff, because you don't know what's taking place there. It looks shady as all hell. But fact of the matter is, I do want every ballot counted, because, you know, that's democracy, or that's a representative government. If you don't count every ballot, you're going back to this kind of George Bush level nonsense. And to some degree, I think these guys are being a useful idiot for the Republican Party, who, like Marco Rubio, who's all of a sudden uber focused on Tim Canova, loves Tim Canova now, because Tim Canova is tweeting out stuff showing about the ballots, but then he's using that as a pivot point to say, hey, something's fishy with the ballots. Something may be fishy with the ballots, but we don't know that. And Republicans are prone to conspiracy theories, and I wouldn't necessarily hitch my star to that wagon. I'd be very careful in that. And yeah, I think every vote should be counted. So, you know, is what it is. But I'll check it out. I'll check them out. There are 15 to 20 Democratic freshmen that are against Pelosi, with 10 incumbents like Tim Ryan. Yes, good. Good. Useful idiots for either party, but with huge bank accounts. No, that's not what I mean. So, and I don't mean useful idiots as a negative in this case, even though I know it's considered a negative. I just mean it as objective reality. Marco Rubio, Rick Scott, Donald Trump, these guys have been screaming that something shady is going on in Florida and that these guys are just manufacturing votes. You've had other Republicans who've gone there and used the video that Tim Canova put out to say, hey, look at what's taking place. Look at these fishy ballots. And this person is doing something shady with the ballots. Now, she may or may not be doing something shady with the ballots. The Republican Party gives two shits about the reality of it. They just want the politics of it, because the only thing they care about winning. Fuck democracy. They just want to win. So Tim Canova attacking this particular point may be right, may be wrong, but it just feeds into this Republican conspiracy theory stuff about what may or may not be taking place. Fact of the matter is, it's a recount. And in a recount, you count the ballots. So let the ballots be counted. That said, Brenda Snipes is either the most incompetent person on the planet and should have been fired once before when she bungled the Tim Canova thing. Not to mention Rick Scott was supposed to have monitors on that election. Where's the monitors? Where were the monitors? Like, there's a lot of oddities in this. And there may be shenanigans that are taking place in Florida. I have no idea. But neither do they. And the Republican Party doesn't care. They want to do anything they can to stop that vote count. Because they don't want to take the chance that Rick Scott loses. This has nothing to do with democracy. This has nothing to do with fairness. This has everything to do with them winning. There's a difference in those things. And I understand Tim Canova is burned on this. And Nick Brana wants to be able to hit both parties on this. But if you're hitting both parties on this and you stop a vote count where there are people who actually did make those votes, then that's, it's contrary to any democratic process. Who's your preferred candidate in 2020? Bernie Sanders. Easy. Or Tulsi Gabbard. Preferably both. Preferably both. I'm going to keep it short. 10 minutes later, Dark Rose left it. I know. I'm talking to my audience. I'm talking to the audience. Hi, Jamal. Did you see Progressive Voice's reaction to Jimmy Dore and Nick Brana? I don't watch Progressive Voice. I could never tolerate them. If I wanted to see Cenk Uygur light, then I just watch Cenk Uygur and, minimize the screen or something. No, I have not. I did not. Why would I want to go watch a child pretend to do the news? It's like, come on. He was like 15, 16 years old doing. I'm not gonna hit him. I'm just saying. No, I didn't. Jamal, would you vote for Tulsi over Bernie in the primaries, and why? Oh, fuck, don't ask me that. Don't ask me that question, man. Don't ask me that question, dog. You can't ask me that question. No, I'd vote for Sanders. Sanders is a clear, straightforward vote. Yeah, I'm still burning. My wife, I do this thing where my wife and I, it's a habit at this point that we've been doing at various places, where I would get to a platform and I would jump off the platform and it's kind of putting your arms out in the air. I don't know if I have a picture of this. I do this shit everywhere that I go. I like doing it. Sometimes I've gotten really good pictures off of it. And getting really good pictures off of it, usually no issue. Usually the world is good. But today, not so much. Not so much. I can only take on so many injuries on this trip, man. Let me see if I can find them. All right, here we are. So like this. I don't remember where this was. I think it was in Paris or Italy or somewhere like that. But get to the top of a platform and jump with arms out and get the picture at the top of the jump. Now, this usually goes okay. And sometimes you have to do it over and over again. I think in Rome, do I have the one in Rome where we were? Well, long story short, we go to do it today. My wife was like, you haven't done this in a while. Are you going to try it? And I said, yes. And I go for it. And she takes the picture. And I swear to God, it looks like a drowning man or a man in need of help or assistance or somebody who's about to fuck their leg up. And I landed on the sidewalk and on the step and fucked my leg up royally. Thus, on top of that, we had to walk like the fucking heaven. I thought Jesus was going to be at the top of that mountain. That's how high that mountain was. Did you hear that the court sided with net neutrality? Did they? No way. I didn't hear that. Good to know. All right. All right, Trudy. I'm going to check out Bernie backs away from Medicare for all, and I'm going to check out the courts backing Nerf bomb Uyghur. I know Mike covered it. Did you hear that his channel got attacked? They gave him a copyright strike on that channel. Copyright strikes are painful, man. They are painful. Jamal, tell us how we can send money anonymously so you cannot see our real names. I don't want anyone to know I'm Hillary Clinton. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I don't know how you send money anonymously. I mean, I guess you can send it in the mail. I have a P.O. box. You sending it through PayPal is not gonna do it. Sending it anonymously. I don't want you to know I'm Hillary Clinton. That's fucking hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. All right. That shit was funny. That was funny. Yeah, GMSC. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. All right. I'm going to end this here because this is like 16 minutes beyond where we were previously, where it was supposed to be finished. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support the content through PayPal or Patreon. Or, as Clyde says, if you want to send it anonymously, through P.O. Box. It's all at the bottom. Thanks all. And by the way, all of it helps. Many of these shows are demonetized right off the bat. And so you have to hit 1,000 views before they actually remonetize your show, which means they gut you for the 1,000 views. YouTube has some shit with it, man. But I'll leave it. Giant bags of cash. I know, right? I know. All right, y'all. You all have a good one.